Hi, my loves. Thanks for joining me for another read aloud. We are reading books by Eric Carle this week. So I want to share with you a book that I always read at the end of the year. It's about another saltwater creature called a hermit crab. And if you know anything about hermit crabs, they sometimes have to change shells when they get too big for the shell that they live in. So I like to read this book because it's a great book for making connections to how we felt about first grade at the beginning of the year, and then how we grew and grew and grew, and now you're getting too big for first grade and you're ready to move on to a new home, second grade. So as you're listening to the story, I want you to see if you can make some connections to Hermit Crab and how he's feeling, and we can connect to how we have felt throughout the year in first grade and how we are feeling now that first grade is almost over and we're ready to move on. So the story is called A House for Hermit Crab, written by Eric Carle. "Time to move," said Hermit Crab one day in January. "I've grown too big for this little shell." He had felt safe and snug in his shell, but now it was too snug. Hermit Crab stepped out of the shell and onto the floor of the ocean. But it was frightening out in the open sea without a shell to hide in. "What if a big fish comes along and attacks me?" he thought. "I must find a new house soon." So if you can think back to the beginning of this school year on the very first day of school, some of us were feeling a little bit scared or maybe a little bit unsure about what first grade was going to be like. You didn't know me yet, and you didn't know some of the people in your class, so you too were probably feeling a little bit frightened, like Hermit Crab is feeling. You had to step into a brand new classroom and kind of explore and see what it was like, and that can be sometimes scary. Now it's the next month, February. And Hermit Crab had found just the house he was looking for. It was a big shell and strong. He moved right in, wiggling and waggling about to see how it felt. It felt just right. Just like once you got settled into our class in first grade, it probably started to feel just right for you. But it looks so plain, thought Hermit Crab. What comes after February? That's right, March. So in March, Hermit Crab met some sea anemones. They swayed gently back and forth in the water. "How beautiful you are," said Hermit Crab. "Would one of you be willing to come and live on my house? It is so plain. It needs you." "I'll come," whispered a sea anemone. Gently, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and put it on his shell. So he has made a new friend, just like you came into our class and met some new friends. In April, Hermit Crab passed a flock of starfish moving slowly along the seafloor. "How handsome you are," said Hermit Crab. "Would one of you be willing to decorate my house?" "I would," signaled a little sea star. Carefully, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and put it on his house. See how he's so kind to the sea creatures and they want to be his friend and help him out? I love that about Hermit Crab. Now after April comes May. That's the month we are in now. In May, Hermit Crab discovered some coral. They were hard and didn't move. "How pretty you are," said Hermit Crab. "Would one of you be willing to help make my house more beautiful?" "I would," creaked a crusty coral. Gingerly, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and placed it on his shell. So all of these different creatures are helping to decorate his home, just like all of your beautiful faces help to decorate our classroom this year with love and kindness and caring. After May comes June. In June, Hermit Crab came to a group of snails crawling over a rock on the ocean floor. They grazed as they went, picking up algae and bits of debris and leaving a neat path behind them. "How tidy and hard working you are," said Hermit Crab. "Would one of you be willing to come and clean my house?" "I would," offered one of the snails. Happily, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and placed it on his shell. So just like you were all so hard working this year in school and then when we had to be home, you are also special to me because you have worked so hard. And you all have your special talents, just like all these different creatures are special in their own way. Now after June comes my favorite month, July. In July, Hermit Crab came upon several sea urchins. They had sharp, prickly needles. "How fierce you look," said Hermit Crab. "Would one of you be willing to protect my house?" "I would," answered a spiky sea urchin. Gratefully, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and placed it near his shell. So they are protectors just like you have protected each other and helped each other when you're sad or hurt and took care of each other in our classroom community. Now after July comes August. In August, Hermit Crab and his friends wandered into a forest of seaweed. "It's so dark here," thought Hermit Crab. "How dim it is," murmured the sea anemone. "How gloomy it is," whispered the starfish. "How murky it is," complained the coral. "I can't see," said the snail. "It's like nighttime," cried the sea urchin. We kind of hit a scary patch in our first grade year, didn't we? When we had to stay home because of this silly virus. So some of us probably felt sad or scared or worried or lonely because we couldn't all be together. Now in September, Hermit Crab spotted a school of lanternfish darting through the dark water. "How bright you are," said Hermit Crab. "Would one of you be willing to light up our house?" "I would," replied one lanternfish, and it swam over near the shell. So even in dark and scary moments, we have bright lights to guide us and to help us. Just like all of you have still been so very special to me even though we are away. You still make me smile every day and bless my heart. Now in October, Hermit Crab approached a pile of smooth pebbles. "How sturdy you are," said Hermit Crab. "Would you mind if I rearranged you?" "Not at all," answered the pebbles. Hermit Crab picked them up one by one with his claw and built a wall around his shell. "Now my house is perfect," cheered Hermit Crab. So they're all working together as a team to have a wonderful place to be, just like our classroom was this year, and how it will be again next year when you go to your new class. But in November, Hermit Crab felt that his shell seemed a bit too small. Little by little over the year, Hermit Crab had grown. Soon he would have to find another bigger home. But he had come to love his friends. The sea anemone, the starfish, the coral, the sea urchin, the snail, the lanternfish, and even the smooth pebbles. They have been so good to me, thought Hermit Crab. They are like a family. How can I ever leave them? So this is the part where I start to feel pretty sad. I don't want you all to leave me. You are my family. But I know you've grown and it's time for you to go on. In December, a smaller hermit crab passed by. "I have outgrown my shell," she said. "Would you know of a place for me?" "I have outgrown my house too," answered Hermit Crab. "I must move on." "You are welcome to live here, but you must promise to be good to my friends." "I promise," said the little crab. The following January, Hermit Crab stepped out and the little crab moved in. "Couldn't stay in that little shell forever," said Hermit Crab as he waved goodbye. The ocean floor looked wider than he had remembered. But Hermit Crab wasn't afraid. Soon he spied the perfect house. Big empty shell. It looked, well, a little plain, but sponges, he thought, barnacles, clownfish, sand dollars, electric eels. Oh, there are so many possibilities. I can't wait to get started. And now he's going to move on to his new home and make new friends. So I hope you enjoyed that story. It's pretty special to me because it reminds me of all of you. I would love it if you could do some writing today to make some connections and maybe think about your own feelings. Okay, you could use your writing journal if you'd like, or any paper. Or if you just want to draw a picture about your feelings, that's good too. So I wrote at the top the title of the book, A House for Hermit Crab. And I want you to think about what an amazing year we had, what a crazy year we had, all the good times and bad times, and all the happy times we had together in first grade. And I want you to think about, what will you miss? You could write, I will miss first grade because... Think back about all the wonderful things you might miss about first grade because it was a special part of your life. But I bet you're feeling pretty excited about moving on and growing up and getting bigger and going to second grade. So think about what you are excited about for second grade. And you could write, I'm excited for second grade because it's okay to have a lot of different feelings about moving on to a new home. It's exciting, it's scary, it's happy, it's sad, it's all of those. So, I hope you had fun and enjoyed the story, and I would love to see and hear about your feelings and your connections to hermit crab. All right, I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.